everybody. It's nice that some people decided to come out for yet another meeting this week. I was terribly concerned. I thought maybe nobody would show up today. I thank you all for coming. I thank you, Becca, for joining us as well. We have Becca there in the back of the room. We go on to the next slide now. Okay. So what I'd like to do is move ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all would stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum? Absolutely do. Is that what, 6 people? We have a quorum this morning. Your RAC Council consists of executive committee, RAC reps, and then we have other committees. The executive committee right now, myself as president. Joyce, stand up and wave at the people. Vice President. Janet Warren, our secretary. Everybody's enjoying those nice warm scones. And Janet Harris, who just got back from the hospital and kind of is hanging out and staying quiet. You can't hear? Okay. I can't talk too much louder. I got something going on in my throat. Getting older is kind of fun. You discover lots of things about your body that you didn't know existed before. Moving on, our past presidents, and I don't think any of them are here today, but Sarah Chambers, Pearl Birnbaum, and Janet Harris. These people have served us well, going back in time. Our RAC reps, I will let you look at them, but I will also inform you that you see there's a new RAC rep up there. It says Bill Turcotte. Bill has just joined us. Al Holdrenk had that position, and Al, due to some medical reasons, had to resign. He was doing a great job and really getting into the swing of things, but health comes first. So Bill was kind enough to step up and say, hey, I'll do it. So thank you, Bill. So we got a fine looking bunch of your floor reps, but they also sit on the council that makes all the decisions for you. Committee chairs, as you can see up there, there's a couple of new ones. Neil Rothfield has taken over as chair again of finance. Important committee for us. If you want to know why, meet with me. I'd be happy to tell you why finance is important. So would Angie be able to tell you why finance is important. And our new resident committee right now is still in the process of being formed, so we don't have a chair there. It's been an exciting week, I think, for everybody who has attended the meetings on the way our new food services are going to work. I think the one I was at, which was the first one, somebody made a comment at the very end about how this looks like a wonderful change, and I happen to agree with them. But I know change is hard for many people, so give it a chance. I think you're going to wind up really liking it. There have been lots and lots of meetings going on, and like everything else in this place, nothing is set in concrete. So if something's not quite working the way it should, I know those changes will take place. Also, I saw a memo come out talking about our increases. I'm going to ask Angie to address that when she comes up a little bit. So what I'd like to do is invite Angie Rohr up to talk about all the wonderful things going on at Freedom Plaza. And you came without your armor. There's no other people around you. My goodness.
I was going to make a comment about wearing a coat of armor coming up here today. But I'm going to start by saying what a great event last night for those of you that attended. Everybody looked so amazing. The entertainment was lovely. It was so great to see people dancing and to see my leadership team. They clean up okay. So just had a great time last night. I want to talk a little bit about occupancy before we get into the good stuff. So right now we are scheduled to have 15 sales of apartments this quarter, which is 3 above our budget, which is great. We're going to have 11 move-outs, which means we're going to pick up 4 apartments of occupancy this quarter. And then if our numbers all play out the way we think they're going to, we will pick up about 8 apartments of occupancy this entire year. So it's been a really good year for us. And at the end of this quarter, we will have hit that 90% occupancy mark. We haven't been there in a while, but that's the first sweet spot from an operational perspective that you always shoot to achieve. So the sales team's just doing a fabulous job. I'll talk a little bit about the dining meetings. I want to thank you. Both of them were well attended. We had some residents that attended both meetings that were just checking up on us to make sure we were saying the same thing at both meetings. And I think we did a pretty good job of that. I want to say thank you to Teresa. She really did the heavy lifting on that presentation. We talked a lot about it. I talked a lot. She did the presentation piece of it. I did one slide. But thank you for your questions. Thank you for your feedback. We have everything documented, and we're going to take that all back and look through it. I know we've already come up with a couple things we want to tweak based on the comments that were made, so we're really appreciative of that. And just to repeat what Ron said, we're going to start the floor meetings the first week of October, and that's really going to be our focus of conversation, is talking through your questions, maybe explaining a couple things we tweaked based on what you talked about this week, and getting ready for that rollout on the first of the year. And I really do think, while it's a big change and it's going to take a couple months to get the swing of it, I think it's going to be really great for everybody. And then I'll talk a little bit about the monthly service fee increase letter. So I tried to slide that right in there on you yesterday with a bunch of other stuff. But I'm a person that believes in really short, sweet letters that try to get to the point, and I don't want to get too wordy, but I'm going to give you the rationale behind it now. I'm going to give you the why. So there was an audit of our monthly service fee increases this year, and it was detected that we missed a pretty significant number of increases. Some were our fault, some were the fact that there was a glitch in our computer system. But regardless, everybody stepped back and said, we're setting ourselves up for mistakes by going to the exact date of the month that everybody signed their contract. So we're just trying to simplify the process. So anybody that closed in the month, example, September, will get an increase on September 1st. And I know that first year that we make that change, it could mean you get an additional increase of some days that you wouldn't have otherwise. So we're going to go ahead in that month and give you an adjustment back for those days in that first year. After the first year, it won't make a difference. So the first year, if you closed on the 15th of the month and we're increasing you on the 1st, we're going to give you back those 15 days as a credit on your account the first time. And then it will just go to an annual increase. It makes Sam's life easier. It makes my life easier when Healthpeak checks on my increases. But we're going to make you whole with that process. So that's the reason behind that. Lastly, I want to give you all an update on transportation. And I wrote enough letters this week, so I didn't write a letter for this, but I will next week. We decided we're just leaving transportation as is. So I'm gonna have a couple buts. The thing that will stay the same, as I've communicated out the last few months, is that we are not doing transportation at night and on weekends. So if there's an incident where, it does not have, I'm going to start by saying it is not a frequent occurrence. So, but there are times that somebody gets discharged from the hospital and it's late at night or it's on a weekend, the hospital is gonna coordinate that transportation for you. And then there will be a charge for it, depending on the service that brings you back to the community. Other than that, we're gonna continue to do the personal transportation. The but there is that the professional appointments are gonna take precedent. So doctor's appointments, your medical appointments have to take precedent over personal transportation requests. So, and then we are gonna ask for another vehicle. We're actually asking for mostly all new vehicles next year, plus an additional one. So you can cross your fingers for me. My fingers will be crossed as we submit those capital requests today. And I'm sure there'll be conversations about that over the course of the next 2 months or so. And the last update I'll give is, and we've talked a lot about the renovation this year and the planning of the renovation. That's on our capital request that we will be submitting this year. It is a big number, and we don't really know the final number yet. So our hope is that if we get this big astronomical number that represents a renovation of this building, and we know probably realistically we're not gonna be able to get that much money at one time, we're probably gonna prioritize it and say, here's what really needs to be done next year, and then we'll do it incrementally. But again, that's gonna be a myriad of conversations over the next month or two with Health Peak. And the more apartments we sell, the more likely they're gonna be to write those big checks for us. So we're thankful to the sales team for exceeding their goals this year and making Freedom Plaza, well, everybody knows how great Freedom Plaza is. So any questions I can answer for you? Boy, there we got one in the back.
Jeff?
Here, wait, I got it first. I beat you.
Teresa, when you were talking about making the adjustment on the increase, it's just a one-time adjustment?
Right, so,
Okay, I don't see how that makes anybody whole, because what's gonna happen is, from then on, in perpetuity, people will be paying extra money, especially the people that sign contracts on the 29th, the 30th, or the 31st of the month. They're not gonna be paying it on the 1st for the rest of the time they're here.
but we can increase your fee once a year, right? So the first year, you would have an extra 30 days because we're moving it back to the 1st. We're gonna give that back to you.
Angie, would you please put that in writing?
Sure. Sure, I will. You can ask Sam and Dennis how many emails I've sent them this morning already on people I've talked to. So I'll just put a blanket one out there so that everybody, that Sam knows he has to go ahead and do that for folks. Any other questions? All right, I'll give it back to Ron.
How fast can I get out of here?
How'd you get off so easy?
I think it's because of the dining meetings the last 2 days.
Everybody's tired, huh? We have a couple of committees that are going to be reporting today. The first one is our Dining Services Committee. Since we're talking about dining all this week, I think it's important that we find out from the committee what they've been doing. So Nita, if you would come up here and fill us in on all the wonderful things you've done over the past year to keep us all full.
Okay, I'm Anita Sciota, I'm the chairperson for the Dining Services Committee. My husband, Bill, and I moved to Freedom Plaza 7 years ago. Since moving here, we have survived a couple of hurricanes and a pandemic. And during that time, we have never missed a meal because dining has made it possible for us to eat every time. Memories of the happy cart, for those that were here during that time. The happy cart as they came down the hallway to give us refreshments once a week. They made sure that we were well taken care of. And then there was the doorbell ringing to notify us that the brown bag was sitting at the door for meals for the rest of the day, into the next. Sometimes we were surprised with breakfast items, but we were always well fed. This is my third year on the committee, and my second year as chairperson. My committee members are listed, we're gonna pass the slide. We have a slide with my committee members, and I thank them for all their good help during this term. And Mary Ann Wellander is a new one, but Kathy Boer is our secretary. She does really excellent work with the minutes. Within this committee, there's a subcommittee that is by Judy Schmidt, and she is in charge of the grill, the American Grill, casual dining. And I believe also she will probably be handling the pub whenever it gets switched over, because that will be considered casual dining. But that's to be decided and how it was going to work, because we're still working on all those changes we talked about in the last 2 days. If you have any suggestions for the grill, please direct them to Judy Schmidt or to me, and I can give them to her. But I know there's certain things that you'd like to have in the grill. The problem with the grill is we don't have a lot of room to do a lot of changes, but we'll do what we can. And now to the mission statement. The other way. The other way. The mission statement. Our mission statement says that we work with the Dining Services Department to ensure that you get the highest standards of food. And we have meetings with them once a month, and then every week there's a menu chat. And that's open to everyone to come and give their opinion on what they would like to see on the menu or what was good the previous week. We then get a menu for 2 weeks out, and we discuss what's on that menu along with what's going to happen in the grill and all the good food they're going to serve us there. The weekly menu chats especially have Teresa and the chef there, so these are very important people to discuss your questions, your suggestions, or something you don't like with. And there's always those pros and cons, and we listen to those. Within the RAC, okay, you can go to the next one. Okay. Within RAC.org, there is a dining experience icon, and within that experience dining, you can give a survey of what you like and what you didn't like from, for instance, last night's meal, or any food that you ate during that. And you can even include the grill in that. So there are things on there that you need to fill out and let us know what you're doing. Now, whether that holds for a while, we hope so, but then there's also a separate survey that we're allowing for now. The QR code is available for you to scan with your phone, and within that QR code, it's also on the handouts that we're doing now at the table. And these are new, you've gotten them this week. And I hope you've all looked them over as you do them. The servers are going to hand them to you either at the beginning of the meal or with your tickets at the end of the meal. You can fill these out. Now, important, and I've noticed these, I've been looking through these because I've been entering them into the system. It's like the Michelin 5-star restaurant codes. A 5-star means you're good. A 1 means you're bad. So I've seen a few come through that are circled 1 and then say, service was excellent. Well, if service was excellent, it should be a 5. So look at it as the number of stars. 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. 5 stars are good, excellent. 1 star is, oh, there was a problem. So think of it clearly like that when you do it. On the back of these cards is a place for you to put comments, if you want to do that. Now, nowhere on the card is a place for your name, but that is up to you if you would like to put that on there. And we would like to hear from you personally with the name, so that if there was a problem, we can get back to you. If you don't want to put your name on, that's perfectly okay. Also, on this card will be the associate that served you's name. And there it's very important because they get extraordinary reward points for every time you turn one of these cards in with their name on it. Doesn't matter whether you said 1 or 5. As long as they had their name on it, they're going to get recognition that they put the card on the table and did serve you. And if there was something wrong, that's where we want to know so that we can discuss it with them and maybe explain, maybe this particular item happened and maybe it was a one-time thing. And because they didn't have time to get back to your table, you felt that they didn't. But please, fill out the cards. That is the only way that we're going to hear about things. And secondly, it's a great way for these servers, associates, to gain points. And the points are in a catalog where they can purchase personal items, electronics, sports items. I just saw a few pages of catalog and I was astonished at how much was in there for them to do. So every time they get their name shows, they get points. So that's very important. We also want to know about the food. If there's something that you got that night served and it wasn't good, put it down. If it was good, put it down. But we want both pluses and minuses because that's the only way we're going to know that you're getting what you like and that we can reduce the complaints too. And we can get to the dining committee and the dining team to let them know some of our hopes and wishes for what we would like to have. And especially now with the upcoming changes, I think they're in some respects good, and this is my personal thing, there's some respects good and there's some respects that I'm not sure about. Only because I love the pub and I hate to see the pub go. And Teresa knows that, it's in my heart. But it's something we're going to live with and we're going to work around. I was very surprised when I saw everything that came through the last 2 days because I had not seen any of this beforehand. Even being chairperson of the dining committee, I had not seen this. And as far as what's on there, some people would love the meals and some people wouldn't. A few things I would have trouble with. Depends on how your system is. It's you that are going to eat the food. But there's something on there for everyone, and we can make it work. And now that they're going to give us more credit to use, we can afford to eat these nicer meals. It's important that you let us know about food that isn't right, food that is action. And the other thing is, I hear a lot, and it's done to me personally, they talk to me personally. Talking to me personally isn't going to do it. Please, I understand. You can't tell me, oh, the food is terrible. Oh, I hate international nights. Oh, I just don't care for this thing or that thing. And why can't we get some decent ice cream? I can't do anything about that, folks. I can only tell them, but you need to voice your opinion. You are the residents and your voice counts. So let them know on the surveys what you want and what you don't want. And we'll see what we can work out. Is there any questions? Yes.
Yeah, I think the cards on the table, getting them out, great, to make sure you focus on it. Cards that were handed out last night, I know you're still don't have a place to put them into the server, but don't have a place to put them.
Well, I understand what you mean. I saw that immediately when I got the card. The servers are supposed to put their name on it. However, a problem I've had is I can't read some of their names. and one card that looks like one and something that looks like something different. But the servers are supposed to put their name on the card when they put it on the table. In addition, it doesn't really spell out that you can turn it over. It does say something at the very bottom about turning it over and putting your comments on there. The other thing I would like to see whenever you do fill out the card is put a date on it. Because we need to know, if you're just saying the food wasn't good this night, we need to know what day that was. And we also need to know the day they served you. Yes, Teresa?
Pamela just informed me through the conversation with you that she is modifying the back of the card to have that information on there so you can put it in.
Right, because I had thought about that, but they
Yes.
have them already printed, so we're starting out that way, okay. But again, the important thing is that the associate gets their name on there, so they get their points. Yes.
Hello, Anita. I have actually two questions. First, I can never get to Chef Chat because I work. Is there any way that could be changed, like every couple months or something, that a time or a day or something that might be available for other people?
That would be Teresa and the chef because of how their schedule is. That's
I
how it's set up.
understand. The other question is, are these cards going to be handed out by the grill? as
Right
well?
now, there was some original cards in the grill that said your dining experience. And there's a box on the outside of the dining room where there's a little credenza, green credenza. There's a box in there. You can fill out those cards. Do we still have the ones for the grill? At one time they were in the grill. and I
Okay,
see
so they're on the credenza out by the coffee.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
But no, not by the coffee. The green dining room table, as you go into the dining room, there's a green credenza there, and there's a box.
Well, we can look at that and look at having an area in the grill with their own comment cards, so then you can drop them there as well.
Right.
Absolutely, yes.
Anita, is there a way that you could communicate with the administration to give us the cumulative results of the comments each month? I know that you do it on a monthly basis, and this way we would know the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yes, that was kind of in my notes and I passed over it. I currently am doing a spreadsheet that similar to what you started when you were chairperson. And then we came up with this new QR code. And so in the last couple of months, we've been comparing how many people are commenting. Now, on the QR code, there was 193 last month. And that was on dining, I'm sorry, on the QR code, there was 160 something. And I had 193 on my report. The reason for that is the cards. And then sometimes you don't go all the way on the QR and on the dining experience icon, then you get that little blue button. It only goes to that. It doesn't come to me or to come to the rest of the staff. There's some little glitches we've got to straighten out, and we hope to do that in the next couple of months with the new dining process coming up. But I do a spreadsheet and I give that out at the dining committee meeting, and that is in the minutes. But there is, at one time, Teresa told me over 10,000 meals a month served here. And we're only getting 193 comments. So we need more comments. We need to know what you want, what you don't like, and what you wish for. Wishes are great. Anything else? There were some cards sitting on that green table outside the dining room, yes. If not, you can ask the hostess at the stand, she probably can get you some, unless we get some more there. That could be, if you put them in bags, but then they have to come back the next day and drop them. So, okay. Any more? All right, thank you. No other questions? Gee, I got by easy. Thank you.
And thank you for the great job you're doing. I know it's not an easy one. When it comes to food, we all have our own opinions, our own likes, our own dislikes. So, moving on, another very, very important committee for us is our maintenance committee, and Ron Carter has been chairing this. He was supposed to speak, I guess it was a couple of months ago, and he got put off. So we got him here today, and excuse me? I kept bumping you. Because I knew we can gather more and more facts from it. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Maintenance Committee, you've probably heard part of this before. The members here, we're really part of a working committee that goes around monthly and looks for things that need to be improved, and we pass them on to the maintenance department. Each member is assigned a certain area to cover. It could be 2 or 3 floors, it could be the outside. I've divided it into 14 different areas. Go with it. So, right now, the team this is the committee right now. There's 12 members. There's have one here. Laird is no longer, has moved to assisted living, so he's not with it. We have 14 areas, only 12 members. So there's open for more members if someone wants to volunteer, go with it. But each one of these individuals on a monthly basis inspect their areas and submit either work orders or bring their findings to a meeting and present it to CIBI. That each member has a presentation to CIBI about the thing direct to him. I'd like anyone that's here on this group to stand up, please. I'm going with it. I've got Carol O'Brien is my liaison for from RAC, everything. But it's a busy group. Going with it. Going on and next. But on a monthly inspection, we go around looking for inoperative equipment, things that are deteriorated and be simply marks on the wall, indentations, burnout light bulbs, all this. What we've initiated in the last year is that all the minor discrepancies, chip paint, burnt out light bulbs, are entered into the work order system that's part of the Freedom Plaza maintenance group. This has proven to be very successful in getting a lot of jobs, small jobs done even before we come up to the monthly meeting. Last month we had 29 cleared out of the 36 we had identified. Lavinia provides a tracking report to me or each one, so it's going with it. As far as the report's been going, is on a monthly basis. Next one. Each individual prepares the report, marks up what they found, puts it, we come to the meeting with it, and at the meeting, they brief CIBI on what they found, what they've seen, go with it. CIBI then takes action from there. They go back and convert it into work orders or whatever how they work through the system. Then each month, he reports back to us what he has solved, how many he's fixed and repaired, go with it. And it's a continuing process of tracking to keep the place looking the best we can. Next. We're inspectors. We're not fixing anything. We're strictly looking to find things that need to be fixed or to make it better. And CIBI is, his maintenance department, as we all know, are doing an outstanding job of taking care of us, going with it and fixing things, making it look good. Open items are discussed at the meeting, what the progress is for it, go with it, and when it expects to be done. Most of them are in a couple months time frame. There are some that have lingered for long, like the indoor pool. It lingered for several months before it was fixed. But it was kept on the front. And it was good. It was being worked on. Okay. Next. City also each month reports to us the various projects that are going on around the place to improve the capital improvements. There may be big jobs that something broke down. The bats were a major issue for several months that we had, but each what they're doing with it. It's a report to keep us going. We then put that in our monthly minutes, and that's passed on to all of you for any comments, and knowing where what's being done. Okay? That's quick and simple. I have openings for 2 people that want to help.
Have any names in the bank?
Have it.
Bank names.
I can't.
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Okay. My hearing's not great.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, because when we did the committee volunteers, there was a list of volunteers and the people that didn't get picked to be on your committee are in the bank. And I'm not sure if you have anybody left in your bank or whether you want me to look and see.
There's no one in the bank that's willing.
Oh,
I
okay,
had volunteers, but the problem was, a couple of them didn't have email addresses. So we could communicate everything electronically.
okay,
And
so you're still looking for.
Others only want to work certain areas.
Okay,
I have no one available for the 2 areas at Freedom Plaza, big house.
okay, thank you.
It's all yours, Ron.
Don, can I impose upon you to go all the way back to the beginning with the list of committees? It's about the 4th slide or 5th slide. How quick we go by. Okay. Now I think you're passing it. There we go. As you're hearing about these committees and from the committee chairs, number 1, RAC, and you always see me reference it this way, is your RAC. It's your representatives. And these people, whether they're on the council, whether they're committee chairs and serving on committees, they're there representing you. These committees are not made up of management people. Now, we involve management people, but so when you look at things like dining services, it's a committee that's representing you, and unless you let them know through the various ways that you can that something is needed, they don't know. They don't know. But it's your committee, and they are doing such a fine job. You know, overall, we have about 120 volunteers from all of you serving on the council, on committees, on other groups, just to try and make your life better. So when we're asking for somebody to volunteer, you're probably talking about an hour a week at most. But cumulatively, with 120 people, we get 120 hours a week. But we need you to join in, and it is your committees, your people. And they're there to try and make life better. And I think you see some of the things they do. If Ron wasn't there, yeah, SIPI has people. They can't go around and look for every little paint chip. They can't go around and look for where somebody spilled a big cup of coffee or something on the floor and it's all stained. Yeah, they're fixing your water filter in your refrigerator. I mean, they do that, but they need that guidance. And that guidance comes from you to the various committees. So these are our committees: administrative services, associate appreciation. By the way, associate appreciation is kind of falling a little behind, so dig deep, help them out. Please take care of our help here, our associates that work here that are salaried people, and they do a hell of a job. I mean, if you think about, fortunately or unfortunately, I eat out a lot. And I tell you, what the bills have gone to and what tips are expected, if we just did that, tip for every meal, I mean, and gave them $1 per meal as a tip, they'd have great money. So dig deep. Dining services, and you just heard from a casual dining. Golf, our golf course has not looked so good since I moved in. It really looks good, and Marty has been doing a great thing in putting tournaments together and what have you. Janet's going to be reporting next month on health and wellness, but what a great job you have done. Thank you. And I guess you need some more people too, right? I think all our committees would appreciate if you let them know that, I know we have this once a year thing that we go and try and get everybody in the bank, but, you know, if you want to volunteer, we're there to help. Technology committee, by the way, it says Diane Bergman. It is now Mike Anderson. Thank you, Mike. And one of the things Mike needs, by the way, can anybody spell computer? Raise your hand. You've just volunteered. You'd be surprised. We just need, there's a lot of you who have some skill, whether it's you know how to use Word or you know this or that. Talk to Mike. He probably has a slot where you can help out periodically. So with all that, I just wanted you all to understand how important our committees are. Do we have any more questions, whether it be for Angie or any of the committees or myself? You know, let me off easy without any questions? Come on. Okay. So our next meeting will be December, Stan?
It's not a question, Ron, but a commendation for Susie and Kayla for arranging that wonderful music and dance that we had last night. I think everybody there really had a great time. And to the starting with Teresa and the staff and Rosa, who always puts out a wonderful spread for us. We had some different things there last night, including macadamia nuts, which I have never seen us have before because I know how expensive that is. And in addition to all the ladies and the staff, starting with Angie and Teresa, and forgive me for not mentioning all the names, but the ladies looked superb with their gowns and the makeup that was on there. It was a wonderful event, and for those of you who were there with me last night, I think you would appreciate that we have done this, and also for Tommy going around and taking all the pictures, which will be posted on the board, I'm sure, on the second floor downstairs. Anyway, thank you to all the administration who made that last night a wonderful event.
Thank you. Icon?
So I've been involved with FlyCRA since we moved here 11 years ago. And there have been changes to State Regulation 651, which has a lot to do with our contracts. And I think the changes were implemented as of July 1. Changes, amendments to it entail the requirement to have a designated resident representative to liaise between the residents and management. So can you give an update on implementing that?
Sure. We have our bylaws committee examining what needs to be done. However, one thing they discovered in our bylaws is, one of the key points in our bylaws is that we will always conform to 651. And that by default covers us as far as that. In the past, our president has always been a designated representative, and this year that hasn't changed. They're exploring the possibility of possibly a different way of handling it. And Joyce McCutcheon, my vice president, has been meeting with a special committee to explore that, also talking to our finance committee. One thing we're lacking in there is the fact that we need to have, in case the primary representative can't be there, who or how are we gonna handle an alternate? They're also looking at the fact that maybe not all our presidents have the financial background to handle that, and that those changes ask for somebody with financial background. Fortunately, most of the people so far that I've known who've been chairs of the RAC have had business background or some financial background, so they have understanding, but we will make sure in the future, if you have other input, please talk with Joyce McCutcheon. She's in charge of that special committee to see what other changes we need to our bylaws.
So, the community is going to be advised now. Is this in the minutes? Is there any documentation? And there has been a representative in the past, other than the president of RAC. I believe Bonnie Brenneman at one time was a liaison and involved. So I think we have had representatives from the finance committee.
We always have representatives from our finance committee since I've been here anyway.
Okay, all right.
Cyril,
Yes.
I'm just gonna piggyback on what Ron said. So we did, because there were slight modifications to the requirement as of July 1st, Ron did give me a letter stating that the executive committee has designated the RAC president as this specific representative, and they received their required notice of the budget meetings and all that stuff that goes along with it. I think what Joyce, I'm gonna talk with Joyce later today, but we're just gonna, I think, formalize that process of how that person's gonna be selected going forward and make sure it's included in the bylaws. And it doesn't have to be the president, I mean, that's up to RAC, but they can determine who that's gonna be.
So, just very, very quickly, the changes to SR 651 indicate that communities such as ours should have, it's referred to as a DRR, designated resident representative, who serves as a liaison between the residents and management with regard to changes in services and fees. So this individual would sit in on like budget planning, on the budget planning meetings, and be someone who would represent the voice of the residents to management. So I think that's a high level explanation. So that's what it is. Thanks.
And what I will do is make sure that the list of those changes get out to every resident, whether we post it on the website or we have Stephanie email it out, but we'll do our best to make sure that everybody can look at those if they want to. Sure.
Thank you. The key point that wasn't mentioned yet is that the new designated resident representative does not have to be, it will be elected by the RAC council, but it does not have to be a member of the council. It just has to be a member of the RAC Association Committee of Council. In other words, all of you members, any one of you. So we have to look into that and set our specifications, but for now we're okay for today, I believe.
By the way, what we're saying is everybody is a member of RAC if you have a CCRC contract. So all of you are members, not members of the council, but just your members. I saw somebody else raise their hand.
Forgive me for being neglectful, but I do want to express appreciation to Cyril and Bob Cope for arranging for that wonderful Jewish holiday dinner that we had, which preceded the dance last night. So thank you very much for doing that on behalf of those of us who attended and enjoyed the meal.
Hi, I'm Carol O'Brien, and I have been here 6.5 years, and I just want to share a story
I have some retired military friends that live in a place down in downtown Bradenton, and it's called Westminster. It's not a CCRC, but when the hurricane came through, this staff should be totally commended. It was absolutely awesome. We were never without anything. And these poor people that I know, they were told they could stay or they could leave, but there would be no staff there. They had no electricity, they had no food, absolutely nothing. They were on their own. And I just want to thank Andy's leadership and everybody else that got us through what was a very difficult situation. It could have been a lot worse.
Any other hands? You sure now? So all in all, we live in a great place. We really do, folks. And I think we all know other people, just like you do, Carol, who've had horrifying experiences. So, and you know, with all our moaning sometimes about this change or that change or what's happening, overall, it always seems to work out good for all of us. I'm on my downward trend. This is I guess I have 2 more meetings after this with you folks. After that, you will have a new president. I will have served 4 years, and it's always been an honor to try and represent all of you in any way I can. And it's always been really great to work with Angie, because she listens, she cares, and sometimes we don't always agree, many times, but we always work it out for the best. So I thank you all. With all that, there's some food left in the back of the room. Don't leave it for anybody else. Thank you all.